Hey, thank you for joining today's session. So today's session is most simple session. Most of us know about these topics, but still is a refresher. எனக்கு இது ரொம்ப யூஸ்ஃபுல்லா இருந்தது. ஏன்னா என் பொண்ணு இப்போ 12th ஸ்டாண்டர்டு. ஸோ 2-3 ஐட்டம் நாங்களே ப்ராக்டிஸ் பண்ணோம் எங்க 2 பேருக்கும் சேர்த்து. ஸோ ஹோப் யூ வில் ஆல்சோ ஃபைண்ட் இட் யூஸ்ஃபுல். ஸோ இன்னைக்கு டாபிக் வந்து செல்ஃப் இம்ப்ரூவ்மெண்ட் ப்ரோக்ராம்ஸ், ஸ்கில்ஸ் விச் ஆர் ரெக்வயர்ட் ஃபார் அஸ் டு டூ ஸ்டடி பிளஸ் ரிலாக்ஸேஷன் டெக்னிக்ஸ். இந்த ஸ்கூல் கவுன்சிலிங் அந்த பேப்பர்ல இருந்து. ஸோ என்ன இன்னைக்கு பார்க்க போறோம் அப்படின்னா, எஜுகேஷனல் கைடன்ஸ்னா என்ன, வாட் இஸ் த ஃபோக்கஸ். ஐ வில் நாட் கவர் இன் டீடைல், பட் அட் அ ஹை லெவல் வாட் இட் இஸ். Second வந்து introduction about study habit inventory. It is one of the toolkit which is mentioned in our book, but it was not expanded in detail, but we will see it in detail. So based upon that study habit inventory, how can we teach school children, how can they improve their skills to study and also relaxation. Then what are the questions that we are seeing in the exams on this particular lesson. So educational guidance is one of the areas of the school counselor. So what are the school counselor is going to do from an educational guidance perspective is, what are the courses that may be interested for that particular individual kid, என்ன ஸ்கெடியூல்ல இருக்கணும், என்ன அப்ளை பண்ணணும், அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் அபவுட், இப்போ 12th ஸ்டாண்டர்ட்னா அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் அபவுட் வாட் ஆர் த ஸ்கூல்ஸ் தே ஹேவ், ஆர் 10th ஸ்டாண்டர்ட்னா வாட் ஆர் த +1 +2 courses which they can pick up. அந்த மாதிரி இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் தெரியணும். And they should also able to assess as an individual அந்த குழந்தையோட needs and aspirations align பண்ணிட்டு they need to help them to identify the right course or guide them to choose the right course. They will not tell do this, but they will guide them, right? At the end of the choices with the kid and the parent. ஸோ இங்க வந்து ஃபோக்கஸ் என்ன இருக்க போகுது அப்படின்னா, நம்ம இந்த டாபிக்ல ஃபோக்கஸ் என்ன இருக்க போகுதுன்னா, இட்ஸ் கோயிங் டு பி ஆன், இந்த இடத்துல the kid is being aware of what is the abilities they have, right? என்ன படிக்க போறாங்கன்றது வந்து தெரிஞ்சிருக்கு. ஸோ அதை பத்தி இந்த கிளாஸ்ல எது பண்ண போறது இல்லை. இட் இஸ் மோர் அபவுட் இம்ப்ரூவிங் தேர் ஸ்கில்ஸ். என்ன ஸ்கில்ஸ் நான் வந்து இம்ப்ரூவ் பண்ணா ஐ வில் பி ஏபிள் டு perform better in academic thing, right? It is for people who are underachievers, who have a potential to really do well, but currently they are not doing up to the mark, right? And how they can adjust and learn as they grow. So again, we are going to do with a case study very similar to my daughter's case study. I have used Claude wherever it is possible, right? So typically a school student vandangana, what a counselor is going to really look at, right? So this particular profile is of a kid called Priya, who is in 9th standard, and she was performing well with B, now not even able to do it for C grade, and she has problems in maths and science very similar to my daughter as well, right? Behavior observations, because she is very interested to learn, she really stays up too late studying, but at the end of it output வரல. நிறைய நைட் உட்காந்து எக்ஸாம் முன்னாடி படிக்கிறாங்க, நோட்ஸ் எல்லாம் எடுத்துக்கிறாங்க, ரிவ்யூஸ் பண்றாங்க, ஆனா எக்ஸாம் எழுதுறப்போ வந்து மறந்து போயிடுது, கொஸ்டின்ஸ் கேட்க மாட்டாங்க, ஏன்னா கொஞ்சம் எம்பராசிங்கா இருக்குது அப்படின்றதுனால. இதெல்லாம் அவங்களோட பெர்ஸ்பெக்டிவ். ஃபியூ திங்ஸ் அலைன் வித் மை பர்சனல் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் ஆல்சோ, ரைட்? அண்ட் எக்ஸாம்க்கு முன்னாடி ரொம்ப டென்ஷன் ஆகி நர்வஸ் ஆகி வயிறு வலிக்கிறது, தலை வலிக்கிறது, எக்ஸாம் பார்க்கறப்போ டிஸ்ட்ராக்ட் ஆகுறாங்க, படிக்கிறப்போ. அதே மாதிரி நோ பிசிக்கல் ஆக்டிவிட்டி, மீல் டைம்ஸ் இஸ் நாட் ரெகுலர், புவர் ஸ்லீப் ஸ்கெடியூல். இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு குழந்தை வர்றப்போ how should we really look into it, right? So first what they are saying is to take a study habit inventory. This inventory is like a very simple survey which we can take it as a printout. Here I try to again put it in Excel so that anyone can use it, which will help us to see how is the current pattern, அந்த குழந்தை எப்படி இப்போ படிக்குது. செகண்ட் வந்து இதுல என்ன இம்ப்ரூவ் பண்ணலாம், ரீடிங் பண்றப்போ எப்படி இம்ப்ரூவ் பண்ணலாம், ரைட்டிங் பண்றப்போ எப்படி இம்ப்ரூவ் பண்ணலாம். அந்த மாதிரி there are varieties of inventory available. I have taken 2 inventories for reference here. So இந்த inventory வந்து ரொம்ப simple inventory. They have some 15 questions and you need to just mark whether you are doing something you are not doing, or you are always doing, or frequently doing. So with that 5-point scale survey response vachu there are set of questions. Hey, what is your schedule? Do you have a schedule? Do you plan? Class nadula padikringla? So ஒரே நிமிஷம். Class nadula padikringla? How is your place? Is it better? You have a place, standard place where you study breaks எடுக்கிறீங்களா? நோட்ஸ் எடுக்கிறீங்களா? என்ன மாதிரி நோட் சிஸ்டம், ஒரு ஏதாவது பேட்டர்ன் வச்சிருக்கீங்களா நோட் சிஸ்டம்க்கு? எக்ஸாம்க்கு முன்னாடி ரிவ்யூ பண்றீங்களா? 8 hours ஸ்லீப் இருக்குதா? எக்ஸசைஸ் இருக்குதா? அப்படின்னு பார்த்தா இந்த ரெஸ்பான்ஸ் வந்து என்னோட ரெஸ்பான்ஸ். ஸோ ஐ எம் நாட் ரியலி டூயிங் ரியலி வெல், பட் ஐ எம் குட், லைக் அரௌண்ட் 43 இருக்குது. So what is that I need to really improve? Abhina, wherever I am seeing that I am not doing things frequently, I need to do frequently, directly it is easier for me to pick and start improving. This is one inventory. The other inventory I have included in the Excel. The other inventory is again detail, and it gives explanation on how do you interpret results also. So I like this, so that's why I thought I will give this also, right? For kids whom we want to really go through it in detail. So either one studying just our pattern. Hey, do you have a schedule? Do you have a place? How do you study? How என்னோட என்விரான்மெண்ட், என்னோட மூட் எல்லாத்தையும் இங்க கவர் பண்ணுது. ஸோ மெட்டீரியல் எப்படி படிக்கிறோம், லெக்சர் நோட்ஸ் கொடுத்தாங்கன்னா படிக்கிறோமா, நான் படிக்கிறப்ப என்னென்னலாம் பண்றேன், குரூப்பா உட்காந்து பண்றப்ப என்ன பண்றேன், நான் எப்படி நான் படிக்கிறேன், தனியா படிக்கிறேன்னா, ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸோட படிக்கிறேன்னா, ஸ்டடி குரூப்ஸ் இருக்குதா, அதெல்லாம் பார்த்தோம்னா இப்போ இந்த பாயிண்ட்ஸ் ரெஃபரன்ஸ் கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. இது எக்ஸல் இருக்கிறதுனால ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா த மொமெண்ட் ஐ ரெஸ்பாண்ட் எஸ் ஆர் நோ, இட் கிவ்ஸ் அ ஸ்கோர். அண்ட் இஃப் யூ see here, I have scored 18 out of 36. There are a lot of areas of improvement. The areas of improvement are all places where I have scored 0, where I should have got some marks. So what is that I need to do better? Abhina, inge vandu instead of me, you can put as a kid, right? So probably the kid is not trying to write answers, then check. The kid is just writing, trying to study, but not trying to reflect it. அதே மாதிரி இங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா இந்த இடத்துல வந்து I just study alone, whereas I can do part of study groups where I teach somebody better, that may also improve. I can also listen to music so that my mind is calm. So various interpretations is there. Similarly, it is more about, in the section is more about reading. So when I start reading a lesson, how do I read? Do I take notes? full material படிக்கிறேனா, இன்ட்ரடக்ஷன் படிக்கிறேனா, சம்மரி படிக்கிறேனா, ஹைலைட் பண்றேனா, அந்த மாதிரி என்னோட நோட்ஸ் டேக்கிங் ஸ்கில் எல்லாமே எனக்கு அசஸ் பண்ணணும். இங்கேயும் பாத்தீங்கன்னா there is a difference, right? Things are not really good. The third is on writing. This is how I write, right? When I write in exams or when I do it, அந்த ஒரு பேட்டர்னும் இருக்குது. So this will help us to assess where with the scores, how the kid is currently performing from a studying and a reading perspective. Writing illa nammaloda in the inventory la writing irundhathu, but as such it was useful for my daughter. But nammaloda material la vandu reading and studying da focus pannirukanga majority. So in the case study edukrappo vandu the kid which did it has scored 76 க்கு 28 da she has scored. Mainly because there is no study cycle, schedule illa. Whenever she feels she's studying, proper notes kadayadu, passive reading, you just read, right? You don't read it for understanding. அந்த மாதிரி பண்ணல. அந்த நர்வஸ்னஸ் இருக்குது, எக்ஸாம் பண்ணுறப்போ நர்வஸ்னஸ் அது இருக்குது, லேக் ஆஃப் ஸ்லீப், இதெல்லாம் தான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் எனக்கு அசஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். ஸோ இதை வச்சுட்டு we are going to see how studying skills we will understand what are the studying skills which is given as part of the material. அது எப்படி பிரியாக்கு அது அப்ளை ஆகும்னு பார்க்க போறோம். அதே மாதிரி ரிலாக்ஸேஷன் டெக்னிக்ஸ் எப்படி பிரியாக்கு அப்ளை ஆகும்னு பார்க்க போறோம். So I'm pausing for any questions before I get into the study skills. Okay. So study skills is not inborn. It is not about somebody will not really get. It's about learning a technique. That is all we are. It's a key takeaway at the end of the next few slides, right? So I'm always a big fan of 5 Whys and H, right? So most of my things will be around that. So what to study, where to study, when to study, and how to read, right? Very important. How do you really read? So what to study? I should study only for exams. இல்ல கொஞ்சம் ஜாஸ்தியும் படிக்கலாம். But kids பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் they limit within that exams, right? But ஜாஸ்தி படிக்கிறப்போ they will also understand அவங்களோட இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் என்ன, வேற என்னென்னலாம் இருக்குது, அதோட இன்டர் டிசிப்ளின் என்ன இருக்குது, இன்ட்ரா டிசிப்ளின் சப்ஜெக்ட்ஸ் என்ன இருக்குது, அது எல்லாமே தெரியும். அதை எப்படி டேப் பண்ணலாம்னா, if they are going to have access to libraries, journals, newspapers, and in the current world, it may be videos, blogs, or it could be newsletters or podcasts or some peer groups, anything, right? So their study should not just only for exams. So it should be expanded, right? The more they have a expanded knowledge, அவங்களோட அந்த பர்டிகுலர் எக்ஸாம்பிள் ஃபோக்கஸ் பண்றப்போ இட் இஸ் கோயிங் டு ஹெல்ப் them to relate accordingly. ஸோ எங்க படிக்கணும் அப்படின்னா, ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பெட்ரூம்ல படிக்க கூடாது. ஆனா நாங்க அதுதான் பண்றோம். ஆனா பெட்ரூம்ல படிக்கக்கூடாது பிகாஸ் யூ ஆர் கோயிங் டு டெண்ட் டு கெட் distracted. So you need to have a designated place where you can study. It could be away or a place where you have minimal distraction. Quiet place. It has to be lighted, ventilated, air இருக்கணும். You need to really like the place where you are studying. When to study பண்றதுக்கு முன்னாடி you need to have a aim, right? அந்த aim மோட்டிவேஷன் ட்ரை பண்றதா உங்களோட எஜுகேஷனல் கவுன்சிலிங்ல அவங்க ஃபர்ஸ்ட் சொல்ல போறாங்க. வாட் யூ வாண்ட் டு டூ, இந்த கோர்ஸ் நீ போற, இந்த இது சூஸ் பண்ணணும்னா நீ என்ன படிக்கணும், அந்த படிக்கிறதுக்கு ஹவு டு யூ கெட் குவாலிஃபைட், அந்த எய்ம் அந்த எஜுகேஷனல் கவுன்சிலிங்ல கொடுத்துட்டாங்கன்னா then it is going to really help. But the aim is what is going to really help on how the person is going to be motivated to study. So to put a study schedule, for 12th class it is 73 days to go, right? So we have that counter. So it gives the motivation, right? And have a study schedule, morning or evening or a constant time. Have a plan for weekdays, weekends, because weekends you may have to juggle between your relaxation time or other tuitions. Cover what are the topics which you like, dislike, everything, right? Ventilated is a error, ignore it. Then you also need to understand a few patterns, inhibition which comes with us, right? So one is when two different subjects that kids are doing, right? For example, I will take about biology and physics. My daughter likes biology. Physics, there is an aversion. So she may proactively, she will study biology first, but she knows she will put the physics second because she has the inhibition and the difficult இருக்கும், அதனால செகண்ட் போகும். அது ப்ரோஆக்டிவ் இன்ஹிபிஷன். ரியாக்டிவ் ரெட்ரோ இன்ஹிபிஷன் வந்து நான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் எனக்கு ஈஸியா இருக்கிறதெல்லாம் படிச்சுட்டு கஷ்டமா இருக்கிறது நெக்ஸ்ட் செகண்ட் படிக்கிறது வந்து எனக்கு ஃபர்ஸ்ட் படிச்சது வந்து கன்ஃபியூஸ் ஆகி பீப்புள் மே மிஸ். ஸோ அது வந்து ரெட்ரோ இன்ஹிபிஷன். இது ஜஸ்ட் கான்செப்ட் தான். How to read, different ways you can read. One, practice rehearsal. Another, you learn by taking notes. Another, you learn by the different ways of reading. So we'll take one by one, right? So practice rehearsal வந்து you may not take notes or detailed notes, அதுவும் reference இருக்கும், but overall வந்து first you practice, you read it, you take notes, you practice it, you teach somebody, you rehearse it, so it becomes easier for you to recall. And here they are not asking us to memorize, right? It is spaced out. இன்னைக்கு நீங்க படிங்க, probably skip 2 days, third day you try to rehearse, recall whether you have read it properly. That is practice and rehearsal way of reading. Second one, for us to do practice rehearsal, note taking is going to be very important, right? So what are the different ways in which you can take notes? So people can, so I take by themes and I also do sprays. So themes is I try to organize everything into one concept, one common theme. Then I try to give how the concept are structured, what are the keywords that we need to know. The way my presentation is currently is being designed itself is in a theme only, right? Though educational guidance was scattered. On introduction la irundhathu, on summary la irundhathu, I try to merge together so that I can get a flow. Then theme varno அப்படின்றதுக்காக I included a case study so that I am able to tell it as a story. So that's how I also read in reality. Phrase is, the way you can see my notes is I will write words across. It will be a horizontal paper where I write neat, and you can see a flow of arrow marks going here and there so that I'm able to visually link what it is, right? Sometimes my visual linking itself, visually I will be able to recall the way I took notes. And pattern notes is where they say that you do it together. So in the இடத்துல வந்து for example research methodology la வந்து what are the different types of qualitative research, narrative, discourse, அதோட related எல்லாம் ஒரே பேஜ்ல வச்சுட்டு then you try to compare and contrast. It could be that paraphrasing and summarization is again, it is slightly integrating, right? So once I know it, whatever I am trying to tell is paraphrasing, right? I'm telling the understanding in my own words, own interpretation, and it is without missing the meaning. Summarization is detail. I'm trying to summarize. Wherever it is required, I can use code words. For example, I can use in the pattern, I can use a code word, right? TSP and TSTPA, PSA. I can use code words so that I can remember all the pointers. So whatever it is, right? So on the madri, I should be able to, we may need to identify which note-taking method may be relevant or easier for the kid, and teach them or give them introduction, slow introduction to choose the right note-taking method for the kid. Any questions here? Thank you. Next is reading strategy. So I skim first. So all the this I will go only with my example. So when I got the book for second semester, I try to skim all the things, but skimming all the things by without any agenda is difficult. So what I do is I take question paper like every topic which comes, I'll try to see where it is. So I'll try to see where it is. I try to scan and then skim through those areas. So I try to do both. Then you do critical reading, like how I was preparing for this, to understand what is that they are trying to communicate. And if I don't understand, I go and reach out to additional content so that I create my own point of view by detailed reading. Those are the reading strategy, and it is going to be different at different points of time. For example, before exam, I may need to scan certain items for topics which I don't want to read in detail because I know what it is, so I may be just scanning. But if I have not even touched the particular topic, I may need to do a detailed reading so that I have a gist before I start doing scanning. And the other method of reading is, they say SQ3R. This is the abbreviation which we are talking in the earlier, right? I survey, question, read, recite, review. This is another way where I can understand, I can read the content in a single stretch. So with these skills, which we have awareness, if I am a counselor, what would have been given to Priya? So Priyaக்கு வந்து மேக்ஸ்ல her problem was, நீங்க அந்த ஸ்கில் அவங்களோட இதுல பாத்தீங்கன்னா her initial issue was in the maths and physics. அதுதான் அவங்களோட மேக்ஸ், அல்ஜிப்ரா, ஜியோமெட்ரி, பிசிக்ஸ், சயின்ஸ் வந்து கான்செப்ட்ஸ் itself is creating anxiety, right? So அந்த பெர்ஸ்பெக்டிவ்ல if you see, so for maths, don't read formulas, practice, right? Which we normally will do. And don't practice every day. You practice, either space out. This is very good way, because your brain will have time to assimilate, then enable recall. So you learn a concept on Monday, review it, practice on Friday. This they do normally in all the tuitions. Every Saturday, every Sunday, there is a practice. So you learn that particular week and they try to do it. And avoid cramming. So ஒரே நாள்ல 20 ப்ராப்ளம் போட்டு பார்க்காம, இப்ப ஆனா பசங்க அப்படிதான் பண்றாங்க. ஒரே நாள்ல நம்ம வந்து 4 சப்ஜெக்ட் 5 லெசன் ஒன்னா படிக்காம you spread it across. Similarly, second is notes taking. So for Priya, for science, since she has science, she can use spray method to understand the concept visually, which will help her to relate to it and then write in her own words. So typical pattern which we can suggest for maths, science, detailed reading பண்ணுங்க. English literature, you try to do the social critical reading பண்ணுங்க. So every based upon every subject where that particular individual, the kid is there, we can suggest a reading type, and they can define why. They can also recommend why they are suggesting that particular reading type for the particular kid. Then when all these are done, the most important thing is you get tensed, right? When the exams are going to be there. Tomorrow there is an exam. Today itself I will say my mind is blank. I don't recall whatever I read, right? So what is more important is equivalent to learning. Equivalent is very, very important to learn how do you relax yourself when you are undergoing stress, right? So because with stress, you cannot do anything effectively, whether it is learning or talking or whatever you do. So what is stress? I'm just going to make a very high level view only. You can read offline. So it is just when you are being tasked to face an unknown, or whenever you feel there is a threat, right, or a danger, it's a response to that is your stress, right? The body makes some physiological responses, whether fight or flight, and then it gives you a lot of symptoms. Your heart rate increase, breathing quickens, your BP increases, you feel butterflies in your stomach, all that stuff happens, right? Then what it is in detail, what will happen? So there are three responses it can happen. First, we may get freeze, right? We will not know what to do. Just struck when a trauma happens, when you really meet an accident or you really get a very bad news, you just freeze, right? At that time, the body, what it tries is immediately after you become freeze, it will try to rouse the nervous system so that it will trigger you to decide whether you need to fight or you need to fight. So what is fight? Fight is you need to fight against it. You are going to confront. Thing. Flight is no, I don't want to face this. I will just run away. Right? ரெண்டு ரெஸ்பான்ஸ்ல ஏதாவது ஒரு ரெஸ்பான்ஸ் சூஸ் பண்றதுக்கு பாடி வந்து இட் வில் அரோஸ் தி நர்வஸ் சிஸ்டம். ஸோ ஃபிளைட் இருக்கிறப்போ என்ன மாதிரி ரியாக்ஷன்ஸ்லாம் எனக்கு வரும்? கோபம் வரும், எரிச்சல் வரும், ஐ ஜஸ்ட் கெட் ஒர்க்ட் அப், ரைட்? எனக்கு என்ன பேசுறேன்னு கூட எனக்கு தெரியாது. ஃபிளைட் எஸ்கேப் ஆகணும் அப்படின்னு நினைக்கிறப்போ ஐயோ எனக்கு இந்த மாதிரி ஆயிடுச்சு, செல்ஃப் பிட்டி, டிப்ரெஷன், ஐ ஜஸ்ட் கெட் வித்ட்ரான் அண்ட் ஐ கெட் ஸ்பேஸ்ட் அவுட். ஐ டோன்ட் நோ, ஜோன் அவுட், ரைட்? எனக்கு என்ன நடக்குதுன்னு தெரியாது. ஐ ஜஸ்ட் கோ பாசிவ், ஐ வில் நாட் டூ எனிதிங். ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு ரெஸ்பான்ஸ் ரியாக்ஷன்ஸ் இருக்கப்போ வாட் ஆர் த ரிலாக்ஸேஷன் ரெஸ்பான்சஸ் விச் வில் பி எஃபெக்டிவ் அப்படின்னு சொன்னாங்க. தெர் இஸ் ஓவர்லாப், பட் இங்க கொஞ்சம் குவாலிஃபை பண்ணிருக்கிறதுனால ஐ ஆல்சோ தாட் ஐ கேன் கிவ் யூ குவாலிஃபை, ரைட்? ஸோ when you are undergoing angry, getting agitated, irritated, probably your breathing is the one which you need to really focus. So meditation or deep breathing will help you to calm you down, because the moment you are breathing, you are going to focus on your breathing, automatically all your senses starts to come down, right? And you can also do progressive muscle relaxation, and you can also do guided imaginary. That word is missing, I will add it. When I'm in the flight response, typically my my relaxation response is going to be stimulating my nervous system. Any activity which will be a rhythmic activity which I can do, that will really help me to address it. So we will see what are the different types of these responses in the next slide. So what is important is we need to understand that for every response, be it fight or flight, I need to have a relaxation response prepared, and it cannot happen when that particular flight or fight happens. I need to practice it earlier. The earlier I do, so impromptu, when I'm going to be angry, I will be able to immediately switch into my relaxation response mode. So you need to practice, right? And for kids, it is becoming going to be very, very important for them to practice, because for them, every exam or every critical comment from the teachers or the parents or the peers are going to really put them into flight or fight, right? So and it's going to be very, very important for us to really prepare them to handle those flight or flight situation more emotionally better. So this talks about how relaxation is going to really help, right? It just does opposite to my stress situation. My heartbeat, BP, oxygen, everything. The reason why I gave you is this relaxation is going to be, though the technique is small, the impact is going to be across, right? My cardiovascular, my respiratory, muscular, my neurological, digestive, everything is going to get impacted when I'm going to really practice these relaxation techniques. So I've just given a summary because in detail has been given in our book, but I just gave the summary on what are the different techniques, how it is being practiced, where we can practice, and what are the benefits we have. So I'll just focus only on few items, right, which I have seen it really working. All of these are variation. You can combine together and all that stuff, right? Deep breathing and mindful meditation are very simple. You can do anywhere, right? Mindful meditation, I can just do when I'm traveling in a car or when I'm traveling in a public transport or wherever I'm traveling. In the current thing itself, I can just focus on my breath and I can just be there, right? Focus only on my thoughts. This is something which kids can apply. Deep breathing is something which I can teach to the kids how they need to do deep breathing when they are undergoing a stress. For example, the moment they see the question paper, they really get anxiety. You can say, do a deep breath. How do you really do it? You can say there is a 5-finger technique. There are different techniques, right, which is easy for us to teach to the children, but it really calms you down because it improves your, increases your oxygen intake and it reduces the thing. The most important things which I missed for my daughter is, which I want to do is the physical activity. A rhythmic exercise really helps us to put things, a lot of physical as well as mental stress into place. So which at least I should ask her to do dancing. Here they say it could be dancing, walking, rowing, playing any games, outdoor activity will really help. The third is going to be your yoga or tai chi, which is going to help you to bring flexibility into your muscles, right? So when you really do your breathing or mindfulness, the muscles also inherently have to be எப்படி நம்ம சொல்லுவோம் இல்லையா, அந்த களிமண் வந்து கொஞ்சம் பிளெக்சிபிளா இருந்தாதான் அந்த மண்பானை எனக்கு அந்த ஷேப்புக்கு வர முடியும். அந்த மாதிரி யோகாவோ இல்ல டாய்ச்சியோ பண்றப்போ என்னோட உடம்பு வந்து என்னோட மனசுக்கு ஏத்த மாதிரி அலைன் ஆகும். அதனால யோகா இல்ல டாய்ச்சி, எனிதிங் which you can do. Only a simple Surya Namaskara can really help us to do. That is also from yoga, but a Surya Namaskara covers at least 3 or 4 asanas together, and which will help us to make our body flexible. And last is massage. Do a shoulder massage, which relieves so much of stress on the kids because they think they are carrying everything in shoulder, right? The stress and anxiety of studying and things, just they say it comes in only in the shoulders. So shoulder massage is going to really help, neck and shoulder massage. And you practice it. You start with 1 minute, 5 minutes, and make go up to 30 to 60 minutes based upon how the kid is there, and they can really make it as a practice as a long term. So what was the relaxation technique which is applied for Priya was muscle relaxation. இது வந்து நம்மளோட இதுல யோக நித்ரா அப்படின்னு நம்ம சொல்லுவாங்க தமிழ் நம்ம இதுல. ஸோ யோக நித்ரா வந்து என்னோட மசில் ரிலாக்ஸேஷன் பண்ணிட்டு ஐ கேன் கோ டு ஸ்லீப் வித்வுட் எனி ஸ்ட்ரெஸ். இட் கம்ப்ளீட்லி ரிலாக்ஸ் மை என்டையர் பாடி ஃப்ரம் த டோ டு மை ஹெட். Next, mindful meditation in the morning before he goes to school. Then do some exercise, rhythmic exercise, and visualization or imaginary, where I can visualize that I'm really doing well, right? It is more about affirmation of what she can possibly do, right? Realistic, what is that she can do, which gives her an ability to fight anxiety. So once this is done, what is the most important is you need to fix the sleep schedule. இது எல்லாமே work ஆகிறதுக்கு sleep schedule is very, very important, right? The more consistent sleep schedule, it's going to have an impact, cascading impact on all the techniques that has been applied. The last but not least is for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you need to do it on a regular basis. So you need to, as a counselor, school counselor, you need to focus whether sleep, exercise, relaxation, அந்த ஹோலிஸ்டிக்கா எல்லாமே பண்றாங்களா, சின்னதா பண்றாங்களா, அவங்களோட ஹேபிட் வந்து இப்ப எப்படி பெட்டரா இருக்குது. யூ கேன் ரீடேக் யுவர் ஹேபிட் இன்வென்டரி ஸ்கோர் ஆஃப்டர் 2 months or 3 months, see whether it has improved. என்ன மாதிரி டெக்னிக்ஸ் அட்ஜஸ்ட் பண்ணிக்கணும், புதுசா என்ன பண்ணலாம். ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள், she can teach to other kids, which can really help her to learn, and other practices which will help her to refine the way she is handling the situation from a relaxation perspective or study skills perspective. That's it I had. So before I go to the questions, I'll open for questions. Else I will go for the questions. Question. No questions means
it's over, huh? The class?
Yeah, the class is over. Okay. That's all.
Your PPT is very nice. I think
thank you.
We can write a short notes looking at your PPT.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, thank you everyone. And any questions? We can go ahead with the questions.
Yeah. So these are the questions which I saw in the last 5 years, right? So the first set 4 is on 2 marks. Majority of the questions is coming on 5 marks, which talks about relaxation techniques, study skills, and educational guidance. All the things which we covered today. Educational guidance part 2, the content which I shared was very limited because even in the book it is limited, but we can talk about that based upon how we are taking giving guidance for our kids, right? What are the other areas other which we can expand. 10-mark question is more about overall in the entire subject, entire session in the lesson. Self-improvement programs na enna. So we'll cover both study skills as well as relaxation. So adha cover pannirukanga. So net you have minimum 1 or 2 questions coming in this chapter, and this is the most easiest chapter. The next chapter is further easier, which talks about how do you need to prepare for exam and what you should not do, what you can do, and all that stuff, right? Very similar to the phase that we are undergoing. That's it. I had I'll stop the sharing.
Okay, thank you. Hope everyone will continue now watching the videos. Thank you, Bharati. Thank you.
Thanks, Caroline.
Stop recording.
Yeah, we'll do that. I didn't realize.